I'm concerned, you can actually tell a good culture from a bad one, not by what people say they stand for, not by the mission, vision and values, not by the little tchotchkes and the key rings that have got the little values on them so that every time someone turns on their car, they know that we stand for integrity. There's no one in the room who's actually got key rings for values. Okay, I didn't really think about that carefully before I got here. Okay, so it's not about that. It's what we actually do that is the mark of the person. The person is a representative of their organisation and what the organisation allows them to do and to continue doing that makes that organisation potentially a vulture culture. The butterfly effect. A little butterfly flutters its wings in the Amazon. And that causes a whole series of events such that momentous, even calamitous things can happen in another time and another place very far away. The organisation is a living, breathing organism. Every action begets a reaction. Every broken promise, every deception, every example of unethical behaviour, every blind eye that is turned shapes culture. And if enough people are condoning and enabling that in their organisation, then you have a self-perpetuating system. Now, over the years, I've been thinking about what is it that helps us determine whether or not a culture is in fact a healthy culture or otherwise. And there are three distinguishing features in my mind. The first one is whether or not any naughty stuff, if I use very technical language to impress you, whether or not any naughty stuff is actually committed. Do people do certain things in their organisation that people wouldn't dream of doing in others? And the parallel for me is school. Kids very quickly suss out, don't they, which teachers they can play up for and which teachers they can't. Who do they respect and who don't they? Which teachers always have the prefix Ms. or Mr. before their names, as opposed to just a casual, flippant, disrespectful surname. They work out very quickly what those people stand for, whether they respect them, and whether or not they want to be part of that system or not. So is it actually committed in the first place? Do we play up or not? If people do, is it called by anybody? As opposed to things that I've seen many times before, and I've got to tell you, I coach some boards. I've seen it in boardrooms too. People shifting uncomfortably in their seats, all of a sudden deciding they really, really need to check their messages on their iPhone because they want to be anywhere but where they are at that moment because someone is monstering someone else in the room, but no one is prepared to say this is not what we stand for. Doesn't mean people aren't uncomfortable about it. Doesn't mean they would prefer it to happen, but they let it happen. Edmund Burke said, "For evil to succeed, all it requires is for good people to do nothing." So, is it committed? Are we prepared to call it? And I'm prepared to make up language as it suits me, is it consequenced? So even if we notice it, even if we're prepared to say we saw this happen, does anything flow on from that? Are there any outworkings from that other than awkward silences or I feel really bad about what happened to you in that meeting. I know I didn't say anything, but maybe you really need to go and see human resources about that.